Hey, what is up everyone? So I'm a little late with getting this video out, but something I wanted to do to celebrate the 7th anniversary of Sea of Thieves was go through the last 7 years and talk about my favorite feature that was added in each year. So this isn't going to be like the best update of the year or anything like that. It's going to be like more specific, like an individual feature within one of the updates. If you're interested in me talking about the top 10 updates that we've had in Sea of Thieves, I have a video that I'll link here and at the end of the video. But let's go ahead and get into this video. So for this, I'm going to go backwards in time. So we're going to start with the most recent year, so year 7 of the game, and then work back all the way to the launch year of the game. So this past year, year 7 of Sea of Thieves, had a lot going on with it. There was a lot to choose from, whether it was some of the Hunter's Call stuff we got last month, or there was also the stuff with the Burning Blade and everything coming into the game, and obviously a ton of different stuff to choose from Season 14. But I think what's had the biggest impact on me personally playing Sea of Thieves is the throwing daggers. I use the throwing daggers all the time in the game. It's one of the things I really use a lot when I'm doing PvE activities, like going to sea forts or siren treasuries and doing all those kind of things. I think it's a great versatile weapon, and I really enjoy using it. It's very fluid and enjoyable to use. I would say for this year, since there was a lot to choose from, my second choice was the disguises that we got in Season 14. I haven't really had a chance to use them too much. I've used them a little bit, but I do think going forward in the future, these are going to be a really cool thing, and I hope that they keep adding to it, which we talked about before in the past too. I hope that they keep adding new disguises for us to unlock going forward. Moving on, year 6 of the game is probably the hardest year for actual content. So I guess I made the choice for my favorite feature a little bit easier, but in the same sense, it was also kind of limited in what I could choose. So if you need a refresh on what year 6 was, it was basically the 2 longest delays we've ever had for seasons. So season 9 came out, and then we had a huge, I think it was like 7 months delayed between season 9 and season 10. And then season 10 came, and I believe that might have been delayed another month until we got to season 11. So we basically only had like 3 seasons in that year span. With that said though, I think once you get to season 11 with the raid voyages, that's probably my favorite thing added in year 6. Mainly because with the raid voyages, you can go do things like the sea forts or skeleton forts, siren shrine, siren treasuries, all that stuff, but you can do them for specific trading companies, including Athena's Fortune, which is one of the trading companies in the game that I never really participated in too much. I like the Run of Thieves Haven when they used to have that, which is a downside of season 11 because they got rid of that voyage. But otherwise, I just hated the default Athena's Fortune voyage, and the Legend of the Veil is a good voyage, but it's just a little bit too long for me to want to do every time. So having these raid voyages that you can do just like a quick little thing to progress a certain trading company was a huge thing for me, and I've really enjoyed having them into the game. We could talk about the impact of raid voyages in another video, and I probably have already talked about it in the past, about how it's affected PvP in the game, but really I think if we're just focusing on the feature itself, I think it was a great thing that was added, and it's made me enjoy the game more. Year 5 of the game was another year that was kind of similar to year 6, where there was a lengthy delay, but it wasn't as bad as year 6. And there was a lot to choose from this year. We had all the adventures going on during this time, so I could have chosen from one of those adventures because I thought a lot of those were really great, especially some of those community choice events. I thought those were a lot of fun. We had stuff like the Sovereign being added with Captaincy. I think the Sovereign is a great addition. But I think if you've been watching my channel for a while now, you probably already expect this to be my answer, and it's Sea Forts. Now, technically, Season 6, where Sea Forts were introduced, was a few days before the anniversary of Sea of Thieves, so it was technically part of year 4, but I just decided to include it in year 5 just because it was so close to the line that I thought it just made sense to go ahead and do that. So I just thought it made more sense to include it in this year, especially since there wasn't too much going on with year 5 of the game. Year 4, there's several things that I really enjoyed from this year, such as the Siren Kingdom with the Siren Shrines and the Siren Treasuries. I think that as an update was a huge update and was really great. There was other stuff added that a lot of people liked in that year, but I think we'd be kidding ourselves though if we said that the Pirate's Life Tall Tales weren't the best thing added in year 4 of the game. These Tall Tales were huge. They came as a huge surprise. It was a really nice surprise that we had, where basically it came up and it was like okay, these are releasing next week, or it might have been 2 weeks from the E3 announcement. And that was just huge. I remember being there, super excited to play these. I think the Tall Tales are some of the best Tall Tales we have in the game. Very well crafted, and they just did an amazing job with all of them. Moving on though, if we go into year 3 of the game, we're starting to get close to like the OG Sea of Thieves times, where those first 3 years were really like, they were prior to the season system being introduced. They had more of like the specific monthly updates and stuff. So there's a lot to choose from, especially once we get to year 1 and 2 of the game, where there was so many options it was almost hard to choose. But with year 3, I think the biggest thing that was added that has been the most impactful to the game was the emissary system. So the emissary system was added during year 3, and it allowed players to be able to basically get a multiplier on all the treasure they sold, but at higher risk because they'd be flagged for other players, including the new Reaper faction, which I'm not technically including Reapers in this because I'm focusing mostly on the emissary system, but they were also included with this update. And I think it just helped a lot with PvP. It also helped with the grind of the game, and it gave you more value for taking on more risk, which is a really nice risk benefit situation that you have to put yourself in. And I just really like the system. I think it works really well. Overall, even though there was tons of stuff to choose from for year 3, I think this had the most impact. Similar to that, year 2, to remind you, is when we got the anniversary update of the game. Because technically, the anniversary update that we all think of with stuff like the Hunter's Call and Arena and stuff being added, it actually came like a month after the actual anniversary. So it's a little bit weird, but with that, I could have chosen stuff like the Arena, I could have chosen stuff like the Hunter's Call. But I think what's had one of the best legacies in the game in terms of like a single feature added is the Fort of the Dam. So the Fort of the Dam was added around the Halloween time during year 2, and I think it's been one of the most iconic parts of the game. If you watch a lot of like people doing tucking and stealing and stuff, a lot of the time it's focused around the Fort of the Dam because it's just this highly coveted reward to steal from. A majority of my best memories playing Sea of Thieves have involved the Fort of the Dam in some way, so I had to choose it for this spot. Finally, at year 1 of the game, there was a lot of competition for this one. Year 1 of the game had so many huge things that changed the game going forward because it was so new that they had room to basically go in any direction with it. They were experimenting a lot with year 1 of the game, where we had stuff like the Hungering Deep campaign, Cursed Cannibals were added, those were huge. The Devil's Roar, obviously another huge part that was added to the game. It was the only time we've ever gotten like a region added outside of say like the Sea of the Dam and some like the Tall Tales, if you count those as regions, which I don't really consider them as regions. There was a ton added to the game during this year. However, for me, I think what's had the biggest legacy and what I think most about when we talk about this first year of the game is skeleton ships. I think skeleton ships are a huge thing. It brought a lot of life to the game where you'd be looking out into this vast ocean. And back in the day before skeleton ships were added, you didn't see anything sailing around other than other players. And now you actually do see other stuff sailing around in the game. And it's just nice to add a little bit more life to the game, and they can randomly attack you, or you can go and attack them, and you can get some rewards from it. I think it's just been a great addition to the game. However, since there was a lot to choose from this, I will say my second choice for this was rowboats, which might sound weird. Obviously, I could have chosen a whole new region with the Devil's Roar, or I could have chosen, the Megalodons or other stuff like that. But I think skeleton ships were a really great PvE enemy for us to have and were very interesting to fight with. Rowboats, on the other hand, in terms of functionality, changed the game a lot. In terms of if you wanted to go tuck on someone, you could go and row to them instead of taking your whole ship. You can transport treasure. There's a lot of strategic things that you can do with rowboats that really expanded how you can play the game, which I think is some of the best kind of updates that Sea of Thieves can do, where it's stuff that either is a cool piece of content activity that you can go do, or it's a feature that can really change how you play the game and do those other features. So I think despite, some of the complaints that we hear online or even criticisms that I might have in my videos talking about, different updates the game has had over the past several years, there's at least something from every year of Sea of Thieves that has been great. I'd love to hear y'all's list in the comments below of what you think was the best feature added for each year of the game. And if you're interested, I have another video that I mentioned earlier in the video talking about the 10 best updates that we've ever had in Sea of Thieves, as well as this other video that's talking about the history of Sea of Thieves from prototype to 2025. So these two videos I think you'd be interested in if you enjoyed this video, but if you did enjoy this video, it'd be great if you like and subscribe. And until next time, thanks for watching, and I'll see y'all later. Bye y'all.